Good afternoon, my name is Cadet Birkenbuel and I will be your PL for this brief. Today we'll be conducting an offensive operation on Objective Corona inside AO Arrowhead. Your leadership today will be myself as your platoon leader, the platoon sergeant, your RTO, your medic, Assault 1 squad leader, Assault 2 squad leader, Support squad leader, and Security squad leader. Our situation today is as follows. The South Ethiopian People's Army, commonly known as SAPA, has increased its activity in the western portion of AO Arrowhead to facilitate offensive operations by the Democratic Republic of Ariana Army, which is the local government force. SAPA forces have continued to build up their forces and increase their activity around the Sangari district. Human intel sources indicate that SAPA is caching ammunitions and explosives in the vicinity of the Sangari. We will be operating within AO Arrowhead as indicated on this map. As you can see on this blown up map of the AO, Route 8 is to the north, all the way up here. Route 7 is to the west, right here. Route 10 is to the south, right here. And there's a tank trail into the east alongside Route 1. There's also a bunch of supply routes and MSRs throughout the area, so be aware of that. Okay, so for observations and fields of fire, there are buildings both business and domestic to the north and the south, like in the village and in the civilian radio station, and buildings down to the south. Open fields as well as intermittent vegetation, like right as indicated right here, and there's also some more over here, offer cover and concealment for SAPA forces. A cell tower is within Objective Corona and provides SAPA forces with communication and access to the radio. So this right here indicates the radio tower. So this radio tower provides SAPA forces with access to radio and TV stations and other forms of communication to the area. So what this means is basically enemy forces, if they have complete control over that, it provides them a significant strategic advantage as they can control the spread of information about themselves and the other U.S. forces in the area. So there are multiple avenues of approach in AO Arrowhead from outlying towns and the greater area of interest. So like I said before, there are urban buildings to the north and the south which provide cover and concealment during these movements. The urban area to the north has many paved supply routes and roads in the village. The MSRs are in addition to Route 8, Route 7, Route 1, and Route 10, and there's also Northeast 78th Street running east to west, and then North Kelly Avenue running south to north to south. Key terrain includes the cell tower and the FOB located here on grid coordinates 063862250, approximately 1,200 meters northeast of Objective Corona. So as far as obstacles go, the many residential domiciles and civilians to the north may hinder our freedom of maneuver. The MSRs are also weather-loose surface roads, which means that if weather goes unaccording to plan, it may make them obstacles. However, we're not really expecting any harsh weather, so I don't expect that to be a huge problem, but the routes can become quickly unstable and difficult to use. So cover and concealment, Objective Corona is located in a very large field without a lot of vegetation except for this little bit over here. However, there is thick bush and a Buddhist temple to the east on the other side of North Kelly Avenue. And the Oklahoma Education Television Authority, which is what the name of this civilian radio station is called down there, and other businesses to this south are capable of stopping 5.56 ammunition. Wind is blowing right now 14 miles per hour southeast. The visibility is 10 miles. Precipitation, there's 0% chance of rain according to the weather. Temperature is 80 degrees. It is partly cloudy with a humidity of 31%. Civilians within AO Arrowhead are generally pro-government citizens who do not support SAPA forces but are likely to provide assistance if threatened with harm to self or family by aggressive enemy combatants. AO Arrowhead population is around 1 million people who support the DRAA, which is the acronym given to the government's army, and are eager to have the democratic government reestablish security. So while they do remain neutral, they are more siding with the government. More specifically, the locals of the neighborhood to the north are neutral to the conflict but likely to house enemy forces if coerced. As far as structures go, again, in the village there are single-family urban homes located to the north and are likely to function as staging bases for enemy fighters. There's also the Oklahoma Education Television Authority, KWTV News 9 to the south, and the Buddhist Temple to the east. So these are all civilian structures. Civilians are likely to support enemies with Class 1 supplies under coercion. However, local medical facilities are highly stressed due to a recent outbreak of a currently untreatable foreign pathogen, so urgent cares in other hospitals will likely, even if they are coerced, won't have the supplies or the capabilities to treat the injured enemy forces. Organizations, the local sporting team unifies multiple people groups in the region. As far as we know, red is good and orange is bad. There's a high-value target known to be in the area. This is his picture. He is well known by the locals, and it is likely that civilian journalists will be present if he's in the area. Sporting events routinely draw up to hundreds of thousands of non-resident people to the region. The Buddhist temple also hosts services every day around 5, but due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic, specifically the Buddhist temple services have moved online. The local government has recently issued a shelter-in-place order which forbids official gatherings of more than 10 people. Therefore, the big sporting events and other religious meetings are unlikely to take place. So, the enemy has recently enjoyed complete freedom of maneuver throughout AO Arrowhead. Enemy Special Purpose Forces have been operating a mission command node in support of SAPA and housing weapon caches throughout AO Arrowhead, so throughout this region. A man by the name of Jamil Boudouaz is a Sangari businessman and owner and operator of a local cafe. Intel suggests that he is a member and associate of a crime family who's actively supporting SAPA both financially and logistically. He's actually the one who managed to get Objective Corona here, right next to the radio tower. So he's kind of the one behind their operating of the cell tower. One team-sized element with SAFs was detected to the east. This team is part of a squad providing security to the two SAPA logistics centers. As far as capabilities know, they are reported to be armed with small stolen arms, equivalent to the MS M4 and M16, the M249, and the grenade launcher. Enemy is projected to be up to 12 personnel, organized into 3 to 4 personnel squads. There are 2 local enemy sympathizers. Intel was able to get pictures of the 2. This one here is a known combatant and will engage with U.S. troops. This one is a known non-combatant and will not engage. Recent intel suggests that this pattern here is a possible enemy uniform pattern in addition to the pattern of uniform combatants. Once engaged, the enemy is able to get one team-sized element of reinforcements to any location in the AO within 15 minutes. Airstrikes can arrive to any location in the AO within 15 minutes as well. Enemy has been known to defend key terrain to the last man and will beat an opposing force using suicide techniques, so be aware of that. The most probable course of action is that the enemy forces will conduct a hasty defense north of the objective, around here, in order to control key terrain, specifically the radio station. The most deadly course of action is that enemy forces will seek to isolate and destroy our platoon. They will fight to the last man and use suicide techniques in order to achieve desired effects, such as gaining momentum and swaying the public opinion. They've been known to play dead and surprise U.S. soldiers with grenades or knife attacks. Higher unit, the student battalion seeks to gain control of AO Arrowhead no later than 1700 on the 26th of April 2020 by destroying enemy forces and preventing their control of key terrain to prevent SAPA forces from gaining momentum and swaying public opinion. So the first adjacent unit will be 2nd Platoon, who will be conducting operations to interrupt enemy logistic operations to the north. The 2nd unit will be 3rd Platoon, who will be conducting patrols along the southern edge of the AO to deny enemy force of maneuver, hopefully to kind of prevent them from getting reinforcements to the Objective Corona as quickly as they would like. Attachments, we have a military K9 unit who will be attached to security squad, as well as Seaburn specialists who will remain at the FOB, but we don't have any detachments. Okay, so our mission for today is that 1st Platoon will conduct an attack to destroy enemy mission command nodes on Objective Corona no later than 1700 on the 26th of April 2020 in order to allow the Ethiopian government to reestablish security in the region. I repeat, our mission for today is that 1st Platoon will conduct an attack to destroy enemy mission command nodes on Objective Corona no later than 1700 on the 26th of April 2020 to allow Ethiopian government to reestablish security in the region. Who? 1st Platoon, that's us. What? We will be conducting an attack. When? No later than 1700 on the 26th of April. Where? On Objective Corona, grid coordinates 0, 5, 5, 8, 6, 0, tree, 8. And the reason why, in order to destroy enemy mission command nodes in AO Arrowhead, in order to allow the Ethiopian government to reestablish security in the region. Be prepared to conduct follow-on operations. The purpose of this mission is to deny anti-coalition forces, like the SAPA forces, the freedom of maneuver, confirm or deny any PIR, and not become detected or engaged by enemy forces. So I have a very simple leader's intent. First platoon will use active force to prevent SAPA forces' freedom of maneuver. We will deploy and defeat the enemy through discipline and persistent application of our capabilities. We must secure decisive terrain, specifically the radio tower, and prevent quick access for enemy support in order to deprive enemy of any and all resources. We need to gain information to deceive and divert the enemy so we can avoid detection of enemy forces, collect all PIR, and avoid any decisive engagement. Following the attack, 1st Platoon must set the conditions for future and successful operations and be prepared to conduct follow-on operations. The end state. 1st Platoon is prepared to attack and disrupt enemy forces in AO Arrowhead and set the conditions for future operations and be prepared to conduct follow-on operations. All enemy forces on Objective Corona are to be killed or captured. All enemy MC nodes and cache sites are to be secured, including the radio tower, actually specifically the radio tower. 1st Platoon will consolidate on the FOB with no casualties and be prepared to follow-on missions. We will accomplish the commander's intent by conducting an attack. Decisive to the operations is the attack of Objective Corona. This will be a 4-phase operation. Phase 1 will be the movement from the FOB to the ORP. Phase 2 will be the leader's recon. Phase 3 will be the attack. And Phase 4 will be our platoon consolidating and reorganizing on the FOB and preparing for follow-on operations. Okay, so tasks to subordinate units. Assault 1 will be my primary aid and litter and secondary EPW. Assault 2 is my primary EPW and secondary aid and litter. Support will be supporting the assault line through support by fire, and then the security element will be set in place prior to the attack during leader's recon to provide security for the assault and support elements. Opboard is effective time now 16:58. Do I have any questions? Okay, phase 1. 1st Platoon will occupy the FOB no later than 15:30 on the 26th of April. We will step off from the FOB and move toward the ORP no later than 15:45. We're going to be moving in a fire team wedge, and the order of movement is going to be Assault 1, followed by me and my RTO, and then Assault 2, support, the platoon sergeant and the medic, and then followed up by security. We will be moving toward our objective. We are going to halt about 200 meters from the objective and establish an ORP right here. Once the ORP has 360 security, we will go into phase 2. Okay, so phase 2 will be the leader's recon. The leader's recon will begin no later than 15:50. It will consist of myself, the RTO, all of the squad leaders, and then all of security squad. The platoon I will leave the Gotwa with the platoon sergeant, who will remain at the ORP. He will count us out as we leave. While we're conducting the leader's recon, the platoon sergeant will be conducting rehearsals at the ORP, making sure that everyone knows their role and is has complete understanding of what is going on. On the leader's recon, we'll establish an RP about 100 meters from the objective. Once we get eyes on the objective, we will place the security teams, the security squad here and here. We're also going to establish our assault and support lanes. So this here will be our assault lane, and then this here will be our support by fire line. I will leave a Gotwa with the security leader, who will stay behind with the support security team 1 while we all return back to the ORP. Phase 3 is the attack. 1st Platoon will move toward the objective and get into position no later than 16:20. Everyone's going to be placed on their respective lines by their squad leaders, with platoon sergeant and the medic with the support by fire, and myself and my RTO on the assault line. The platoon sergeant will initiate fire no later than 16:45. I will be with the assaulting element, and once support has initiated fire, Assault 1 and Assault 2 is going to start moving through the objective. So we'll start moving toward. I will indicate shift fire with 2 long whistle blasts and lift fire with 3 short whistle blasts. So this will be shift, and then we'll keep moving through, and then I will call lift, and they will lift fire, and then we will continue assaulting through the element. Once assault has moved through the objective, so I will call LOA once once support is called last man, and then once they've done that, these guys are going to move through the objective, and they're gonna once they get to their LOA, they'll call LOA, and that's when I will start. We'll start doing specialty teams. Team leaders will be getting lace reports, and our special teams are going to be called. Remember, be on the lookout for all the PRRs we discussed and any info on the high value target. If we have any casualties, the platoon sergeant will call for a 9-line medevac. We're going to be starting to establish 360 security at this time, and then move into phase 4. Phase 4 will be us leaving the objective and getting back to the fob. So we'll be on the objective no longer than 10 minutes after we initiate attack, because enemy forces can arrive within 15 minutes. First platoon will move off the objective no later than 1700 and move back toward the fob. Okay, so as far as PIRs go, the composition, what we're looking for is the composition and capabilities of the enemy's men, the weapons and equipment on the suspect site. We also need information on the uniforms, basically just confirming whether that orange and black, ugly, disgusting camo pattern is actually accurate or not. We're also supposed to confirm or deny the presence of any overhead structures, in addition to the radio tower, as well as automatic weapons, any seaborne threats, or visual contact of the high-value target. Talking points. If, in the case of any media engagement, you should mention that the U.S. forces are here to support the cause of freedom and democracy around the world. Any civilians who have been threatened by enemy forces will be protected to help us locate them. The phrase "boomer sooner" has also had a very popular effect on the local civilians. Try not to stray away from these talking points, as the local media tends to manipulate words. We don't need any bad publicity, nor do we need to give the locals any reason to be wary or fear us. Required reports include the SP, line of departure, or salute reports upon enemy contact, basically just confirming or denying the PIRs, lace reports upon consolidation, and then a 9-line medevac as required. The time now is 17:58. Do I have any questions?